Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I think we'll give everybody just a minute since we ran over with our last presentation to make sure we get everybody in the room that wants to be here. So my apologies to anybody who was in the room waiting for this this to start. We did run over just a bit with our Hall of Fame presentation. And so we'll give everyone just a minute to get together here, and I will introduce our presenter for Membership 101. Hopefully everyone is in the correct room. If you intended to be on the communication or leadership track, you'll need to exit out and try a different Zoom link. But we're going to have a great time here in the next hour or so. My name is Carrie Dostal. I am your Program Quality Director for District 19. And I'm so pleased to introduce our presenter today for Membership 101 program. She is a well-seasoned 9-year member of Toastmasters, previously a Toastmaster in India. She served in area and division director roles to further her abilities to help other Toastmasters. While a member of District 19, she has served on the district library chair and is currently an area director, ready to help members and clubs find their footing. With information presented today from Membership 101, Area 61 Director Pearl Fernandes is here to help everyone learn something new. Please help me welcome Pearl.
Thank you, Carrie. Can everyone hear and see me okay? More importantly, can you see the screen?
I can see both of you. Thanks, Pearl.
Okay. I've also shared a PDF version of it. If it's hard for you to follow along on the screen, this is available for you to reference later. I've shared in the chat. So, Membership 101. Let me start this with what I'm planning for this session. Introductions. Obviously, I want to know why you're here, what do you want to do? And then I've structured the session to say, what do you do within my club? What's your journey in Toastmasters been, and what do you do beyond your club? So when I talk about introduction, what I'd like to hear from you is, which club are you from? Which Toastmasters club? What made you join Toastmasters? How long have you been here? And specifically, if you've come to Huddle today, what do you want to learn from this particular session? So if you could unmute yourself and go one by one. I'll start. Carrie's introduced me, but I'm Pearl. I'm a member of 1100 Toastmasters Club. I was a part of Toastmasters back in India. I've done a lot of roles there. And when I came to the US, I wanted to join Toastmasters because that's something familiar. And so I joined, and once I started getting more comfortable with the culture, I said, okay, now I need to step outside my club, and the knowledge that I have both from a different district and a different culture, bring it into a different place so others can learn from my experiences as well.
Okay, Pearl, I'll go ahead and go. I introduced myself as well. I'm Carrie Dostal, the Program Quality Director this year. I've been with Toastmasters for over 20 years with a kind of a break in between where I had to step away because too many other things were getting in the way. But back mainly because of the things that Ed spoke about, if you were listening to him during the Hall of Fame lunch, is you really do lose your skills if you don't practice them, and also you miss the people if you're not around. So I first stepped outside the club when I was a club president, and our district director called me directly and said, hey, I need somebody to fill the role that was at the time called treasurer of the district, and just wondered if there was anyone in your club who might be interested. And I said, sure, I can do that. And she told me she about fell off of her chair because she said, I've never made one call and got somebody to say yes. So she was very pleased with that. And that started me on opening up a whole new view of Toastmasters, because before that I had just come to club meetings and I began to see stuff about the district, which I'm sure Pearl will go into in her presentation.
Anyone else would like to go?
Hi.
Okay.
My name is Tiffany. So my name is Tiffany Wilson Lillard. I'm the president of the Opportunity Knocks Club in Des Moines. I actually joined Toastmasters officially January of this year, 2020. And the reason that I joined was because at the time I was interested in starting a business, a coaching business. And I wanted to improve my communication skills, and I really wanted to enhance my listening skills. And today, what brings me to the Huddle is because I'm a new Toastmasters member. I'm new to the organization. I'm new to a leadership role. I really wanted to take a deep dive and get more information on the Toastmasters way. I think that that's something that's really important to me as a president, is to provide that main leadership focus. And I wanted to learn as much as I could about that and about Toastmasters in general. And this section, we're talking about membership. So that's what I'm interested in learning about. Thank you.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Alta Big. I'm a member of Town and College Toastmaster. I belong to Dayton Road Toastmasters Club last year. I did just drop that because I'm also helping to get CVM Toastmasters up and running and continue to help it. So I had to diverse myself of some of the responsibilities. I joined to be supportive of my husband. His boss told him he either needed to learn how to communicate better or to get a different job. And he's very shy, so I decided to go with him to Toastmasters. After 6 months of visiting, one of the other Toastmasters says to me, don't you think it's time for you to join? I was in a job where I didn't need to give presentations. I did not think I needed to give presentations, but what I got out of it was so beneficial. I have confidence. I am not afraid to get up and say few words about anything. The most challenging thing that I've had to do is give my mother's eulogy. So, and I could do it. Toastmasters is the reason why. Why am I here today? I need to get some more members for our club. Back to you, Pearl.
Thank you, Alta, and congratulations. You had a long list. So Alta, for those of you who didn't attend the Hall of Fame session, she is our Toastmaster of the Year. So. Okay, I'm not going to pressure folks into talking here, but I'd like you.
I'll go. Hi, I'm Mary Schulte. I'm in North Liberty, actually. I belong to North Dodge Toastmasters and Game Changers Toastmasters in Cedar Rapids. North Dodge is in Iowa City. Why did I join Toastmasters? To become a better speaker. And what's interesting is what happened was I became a better leader. And I'm retired now, but I was an IT project manager at work, and Toastmasters really helped me out on gaining confidence and being a better leader. And I am at the Huddle because I enjoy seeing everybody, and I know it's always educational. And I'm hoping to learn more about membership from Membership 101.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, so let me keep going forward. Before that, a quick if you can give me a thumbs up if you've been in Toastmasters for a year to 2 years, so I'll know. If you can put a reaction, if you've been there a year, or put it in the chat how long you've been there. The reason why I ask is that I'd know how much to focus the session on a newcomer versus someone who's been here for longer and knows the norms. So if you can just put it in the chat of how long you've been in Toastmasters, and if you have something specific that you're looking for in this particular session, something that I know I can focus on that. So within your club. So for those who have been in Toastmasters fairly new, from my personal experience, I would say you want to start with an accounter, a timer, a grammarian, a table topic speaker, and then progress on to slightly more difficult roles. So table topics master. There's a role called the introducer. If some of you are aware, some clubs use it, some clubs do not. The introducer is basically the person who will formally introduce anyone for that particular meeting. The Toastmaster, obviously, the key person who keeps that role in place. And I personally rate the Toastmaster as being an easier than the speaker role. And that's from personal experience, because when I joined Toastmasters, I was nervous. I was okay with speaking for a couple of minutes, but to speak for 5 to 6 minutes, that was like asking me to do, groundbreaking things, which I was like, I'm not really sure I want to do this. So to me, the Toastmasters was kind of small installments. I keep going to the stage and back, so I'm less nervous about speaking for such a long duration. And so I say it's easier to be the Toastmaster than it is to be a speaker. In fact, my old club kind of knows me as I never took on, my first speech was almost, I think, 7 months into the club, and I had done every role except the speaker. So when I went on the first time, the president of my club was like, wait, this is your first speech? You're giving your icebreaker now, like 8 months after joining the club? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I feel like you're halfway down your projects because I've seen you every week. And that's what it is. You want to be there. You want to get comfortable with it. And I'd say you want to challenge yourself with, you can only evaluate someone when you've done that project yourself. So then you want to go on to the evaluator and the general evaluator. From the chat, I can see a lot of you have been here a long while. So I would say there are additional resources you have available for new members. A Toastmaster wears many hats, meeting roles, and the club officer roles. I will quickly flip over to them so you can see them. So this PDF will give you all of this information that you can go over, and it will tell you what do you do during the meeting, what do you do after the meeting, and what do you do for each role. It's available on the district website, and as well as Matthew and Cindy made a quick reference PowerPoint in the Google Drive, and I will share the link out here so you guys can reference it later. And all of this information has been put out there. So give me 1 second. I'm sorry, my Google Hub seems to think I'm talking to it. So I had to tell it to go silent. I apologize. Okay. So the Toastmaster wears many hats talks mainly about the leadership roles that you have, the roles that you can take up within your club. If any of you have questions during this, feel free to put it in the chat or to unmute yourself and ask. I will not get disturbed. It doesn't bother me. I will pick up my train of thought from there. So if you have something that you want to talk about or ask specifically, don't wait till the end. Let's just ask me in between. Some of the meeting norms that we have, a common question that a lot of us who've been in Toastmasters for a while get is, why do we applaud? And I think the best way I can explain that is with a story from my personal experience. I was part of a club when I had this new guest come in, and my club at that time had, this is my club back in India, and we had a rule that every member has to take table topics. So it wasn't optional. every member had to speak every week. And that was one of the ways we ensured that you are getting out of your comfort zone, getting more comfortable with talking. And there was this one meeting where the table topic speaker went up there. He couldn't speak. He just blanked out. He didn't know what to say. He was a fairly new member. He had just joined the previous meeting. He got up there, and when he finished, all of us clapped, and just things just went on. The next meeting when he came, he again was called on, but this time he came on and he said, last week when I didn't speak, all of you applauded for me. And after the meeting, a lot of you spoke about how it was, it takes courage to even get up on that stage. And that's why I'm back today, because even if I don't talk on that topic, I at least will feel more comfortable, that it makes me feel good that I'm in a supportive environment. And I think that is the key of why we applaud. One is to support the member, and two is also to kind of show them recognition that they've put in time and effort to come out there and to give us their wealth of knowledge, or to even share their views and perspectives on it. And that's why we applaud on this during the Toastmasters performance, both to give them our encouragement and to say, hey, you're doing a good job and let's keep going forward. This is a no judgment zone. Why do we use a lectern? A lectern is one of those things that some clubs have, some clubs don't, but I would talk mostly about the handshake. The handshake is basically a shifting power and control from one person to the other. So in Toastmasters, we almost take the stage as our altar, and you do not want to leave it empty. So it's a switch in control from one person to the other. And so you want to take that control from the Toastmaster to the speaker, from the speaker to the next person, table topic speaker to the table topics master. A lot of us sometimes forget and we just walk back right up to our seats, but sometimes it's important to remember that you want to hand off that particular stage to the next person. It's also a welcome to them, so you're not leaving them coming up to a blank stage. So I think that's important to remember. You're handing off your control to them. When you have a lectern, I would say the rules are pretty similar. You don't want to leave the lectern on your own. It's also a great place to leave notes if you forget. So that's one of the key reasons why people have lecterns. But I think it depends on how you want to use it, because a lectern can be a crutch for some people when they want to reference the notes, because you have it there. It's so easy to look at it that sometimes you forget you're doing it, even though you know your speech well. So does anyone have any questions? The meeting roles. I think we've covered this during club officer training: your sergeant at arms, your treasurer, your secretary, VPPR, membership, VPE, president. But one role that we commonly forget is the immediate past club president. And I think that also forms a key part of the committee, that you want to take their input because they've been in your shoes before. Most club presidents, the past club presidents, have been in the president's shoes or have been vice president education or have taken on other roles. So you get to learn from their experience. You're not trying to make the same mistakes they made. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel out here. You want to go for the betterment of the club. So this meeting roles and club officer roles guide is one that Matthew shared with me, and I would say it's a good one if I can find it. Oh, here. So it was made by one of the clubs previously, and I would say it has a good amount of content. It was, however, made with the old program in mind, so you want to keep that in mind when you're reading it and focus more on pathways. A lot of it talks about, the applause. It's about what do you do at the lectern, the meeting behavior. So it's a great tool that you want to share with other members and to your members for your club. What's the best thing for you to do going forward? Within Toastmasters, so did a lot of you attend the pathway session that Lisa had in the morning? I think Lisa is on here as well, right? I think she did a fabulous job in the session explaining how do you use pathways, how do you go about it. What I would say is definitely start learning about pathways, use the resources that we have available, the navigator, the base camp. One of the great things about pathways is that you are able to look and do all of this online, so you're not waiting for your shipment to come in from Toastmasters, so you can start on your next one, and you can start multiple projects at the same time. I think that's one of the great things that you can do. And always remember to submit your level or submit your path at the end, so you kind of get that ability to do it. So your core competencies out here. I liked this particular resource that was shared, and I'm sorry, it's a little slow for me. So this particular resource will talk about what is available in each path. So if I pick the dynamic leadership, I know that project 1 talks about every project, every path, the first project is your icebreaker, and then you're understanding your leadership style, but it tells you what those elective projects are. So this is a great resource if you want to kind of get a quick glimpse of what is coming up next, or if you don't know what path I want to choose, you're conflicted, you feel, I would do dynamic leadership, but I would also do great with effective coaching, then you can kind of get a peek into what's available on this particular manual. What do I have to do? And if you feel you're comfortable doing it or uncomfortable doing it, that kind of guides you towards one way or the other. And I think that's a great way to know what you want to do next. Toastmasters also has a great link to pathways. It talks about the overview of pathways and what do you want to do in there. So I think that was a great resource that they offer, where it talks about, they give you a free sample project, which is obviously your icebreaker, but I think it was covered in the morning as well, where she spoke about, you have a free path, make the best use of it. So either as a new member, you get a free path, or those who are on the traditional project got a free path when they came over to Pathways. And additionally, if you are a member through March 31st, I think, Toastmasters International just sent out that email that says, you'd get a free path for the $20 value. Make use of those resources. I think that's great that they're doing so much to keep us engaged, and I think we should be doing that as well. In addition, if you are interested, District 19 has a Pathway Summit where they talk exclusively about January 7th of the coming year from 6 to 8 p.m. So I think that's a great way to also ask your questions related to pathways. Does anyone have any questions so far? Or want me to cover something a little more in detail? I have a tendency to speak fast, so if you need me to slow down, let me know. Okay. I take no feedback as good feedback for now. What are the Pathways Awards? So the Distinguished Toastmaster, most people get a little confused about with Pathways, how do I get to Distinguished Toastmaster? I think that was one of the key issues for a lot of people when they first joined was, is it just I complete 2 paths and I'm done? Yes and no. You need to complete 2 paths, but you also need to serve as a club officer for 12 months and participate in a district-sponsored club officer training, mentor or club coach. Is everyone familiar with a mentor or coach? Do you need me to get into the details of that? Yes, no, just type it in the chat box and I can go over it if we need to. Okay. Club sponsor or Speechcraft or a youth leadership program, serve as a district officer for 1 year, and that's how you'll complete your DTM. So you need to be doing all of these things before you are able to submit your DTM. I think completing your 2 paths is the key of all of it and is the one that will take you the longest. But it's made it a lot easier to complete and become a distinguished Toastmaster with the new program, just because it's so much online, and it's so much easier to get through these programs. They're more tailored to how the world is today. In addition, you have the Distinguished Club program that's changed, and you have a lot of this that comes now towards pathways, but from the traditional program. So you want, if your club members can get their level 1, or if they can complete level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, and that's how you will help towards your DCP. And I think a lot of you are aware and have seen, so each, it was covered in the morning, but I would say each one has 5 levels of the project. And for each level you get it, and that's how you complete a path. So I'm not going to get too much into the details of pathways, simply because we've had sessions to do that, and we have sessions that's going to go over there. Does anyone have any pathway specific questions? No? Okay. So what do you do beyond your club? Let's say you've done things in your club, you've done things, now I want to step out. I've been a club officer, I've been Toastmaster, I've done all of these roles. What do I do beyond that? Because Toastmasters is about first growing yourself, and then you slowly step out, keep increasing that beyond my comfort zone in small increments. So what can I do beyond my club? Take part in speech contests. So this year for 2020, 2021, our fall contest will be in 21, and sorry, it should have been spring contest, my bad. But it will be the international speech and the humorous speech contest. So it will be in 2021, and it will be international speech, humor speech. Previous years, we've had table topics, we've had evaluation, we've had other contests. Toastmasters allows clubs to have their own contests, so you can organize a table topics contest, an evaluation contest, or a tall tales. Every contest starts at the club level, moves on to the area, and then to the district level, division, and then the district level. So when you want to look at district leadership, take on a role outside your club. Now you want to be a club president or vice president education. Beyond that, you go to the area director. So a group of clubs forms the area. A group of areas forms the division. So the division is led by a division director. And today on the call, we have some of the division directors with us. And then you have the district top 7. I've broken them into 2. You have the district finance manager, the administration manager, the PR manager, and the past district director. But you also have the club growth director, the program quality, and the district director. So they form your top 3 or your district trio, and they're the ones who generally help and will circulate information down to you. So some of you might have gotten emails that say, oh, there's a district executive committee meeting, or there's a district council meeting. And one of the questions that I've received from some people are, what's the district council? So the district executive committee is everyone from your area level all the way up to your district trio. But beyond that, your club presidents and your vice presidents education form your district council, because they help with your voting. They help you bring in the right programs. They're your boots on the ground. Your club presidents, your VPEs, your area director, they're the ones who get that information up to you, because as a district director, you're looking at multiple clubs, like over 100 clubs. It's not easy to stay in tune and to know what every club is facing as a problem. So you get that information from your division and your area directors, who in turn get that information from their presidents and vice president education. So you want to keep going all the way to the top. And the reason I have this as an inverted pyramid, because I feel is, one, they are the most important people in that particular organization. And if your president and VPE are not going to give you that information, it doesn't go all the way to the top. What do you need to be a district leader? I think that was a great resource that was shared that talks about what do I need to become a particular role. So if I talk about the district director, I need to have the competency to be able to strategically think and plan. I need to have team management skills. I need to have analytical skills. I need to have a working knowledge of Toastmasters, obviously. So you want to have all of that. So if you feel that, yes, I have that, or if you don't have it, you want to work towards it. You want to work with people who will help you build those qualities so you can move up the ladder towards those roles. If you're not ready to go straight for leadership roles, district officer, you want to slowly nudge your way in. I think great places to start is the conference. So we've spoken about the district council, we've spoken about the district executive committee, but what's the conference planning committee? So Huddle. Matthew and Cindy were reaching out for people who will help them volunteer at these events, help them learn and plan these events. You need people to help plan them. The Spring District Conference, I have been consistently inconsistent on this to say spring. Over here, it should have said Spring District Conference, but if you want to volunteer, you want to reach out to your area director or to your division director and say, hey, I'd like to take part in the conference. How can I help? It could start with a small role. It could be a bigger role. If you're great at planning, let them know so they can help you and put you in the right role to help with your skill set out there. If you're good with training, then what do you want to train on and things like that. So that's where your experience comes into the picture. Another place that's great is our club growth director is looking for people to be part of the club growth committee, which will help with chartering new clubs, doing demo meetings, working with these clubs, being mentors or coaches for clubs that are struggling, mentors for new clubs, but coaches for clubs that are struggling, and help them with your experience and your expertise as you grow a little bit. So you'd be placed in a role that's more conducive to your skill set. What are the awards? I think some of you were in the Hall of Fame and some were not. So I'm going to cover these awards. So these are the awards that an individual can receive. The Carlton Capsize Award is the top award that we give in District 19 to someone who has shown exceptional service to the organization. And then you have the District 19 Toastmaster of the Year. You have the area director and the division director. Obviously, you need to be an area director to get that award as a division director. So it's from that pool. And the John B. Miller Award is for the member who has sponsored the most new members in that term. You can get that information in the awards and history page or the awards list out here. Some awards are given to clubs. So as a club, what award I can get? The Ian Edwards Award. It's the highest ratio of the education awards that I've completed given your membership base. Now, obviously, if I have 40 members in my club and only 20 of them have done it, it's a 50% ratio. But if I have 10 members and all 10 have gotten it, then it's a higher ratio of educational completion to the membership base award. So that's one example. The Traveling Lectern Award is for the first club that achieves 5 points in that particular year. The website said 10 and I put it as 10, but I remember Teresa Michelson's mentioning it in the Hall of Fame, where she spoke about the first club that achieves 5 points in the Distinguished Club program gets that award for the Traveling Lectern. The Traveling Trophy Award is for the one who has the most attendance and participation, those clubs that contribute to the success of the district conference. Trainings, I think that's the one that most of us are looking for if you're looking to learn more. So the club officer trainings are in May or July. They're generally held division-wise. And then you have the second set of trainings in the winter. So you have that from December to February. You have that for this year in 2020, you'll have that one training coming up next month, November 14th. And then you have those in December, January, and again in January, some in the evening, some in the morning, depending on which day of the week it is. So if you are a current club officer, or if you're looking to become a club officer in the next term, you want to do this because this is an easy way for you to get points for your club to be part of the DCP program. And one more training that the district offers, one is which you're sitting in, is Huddle. obviously that's a great training program, a great resource to make the best use of. And the other is the speaker to trainer, and that is going to be held sometime in November. And Matthew said that they would be sending out the email anytime in the next week or so. So you watch your email for those details. Do you guys have any questions? No?
Excuse me, Pearl. Do you have, do you know if those dates are on the calendar already for training?
Alton, not yet, I think, because I got these dates from Matthew, just because I wanted people who are attending the session to be aware and kind of mark your calendars. But he said they are planning to put them out as soon as possible, once they've kind of finalized everything, so they can put all the details in together.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention next Monday or Tuesday will be our there'll be a email coming out from the district. Matthew puts out one a month of upcoming events, and he'll have all those things. Pearl, I don't believe that we're going to do a speaker to trainer
Okay.
this year. I think that is the thing that's coming up in November is officer training. And the reason is the speaker to trainer is so much of a hands-on training. It is very hard to deliver that online. So we haven't had anybody really want to or take the time to figure out, can we really do that? However, we've done a really good job at these sort of trainings, as well as you mentioned, there's going to be a pathways one in January. We have not yet determined if our spring conference will be in person or not. We know for a fact, because Toastmasters International has told us that all speech contests for all divisions in the entire world must be online. That does not include club contests, can still be in person, but area, division, district, regional will all have to be online. Because of that, that makes it more of a challenge for our spring conference. And so spring conference, well, actually all events, which would have included this huddle if we were able to do it in person, you also, at least for this year, this Toastmaster year, Toastmasters International has said all events must be at least hybrid, meaning if you have an in-person event, you have to also offer either that same event or an equivalent event online. So we can't really do only in-person events.
Absolutely, that makes sense.
Mhm.
I
Carrie,
have a question.
yes.
The free path you receive for renewing, what is there anything offered for people that were previous members? They were not a member in the past year, but they're going to rejoin. Do they get a free path?
Yes. So Mary, if they and I think it was Mary. Yep, I see Mary. Okay. So if they join and renew their membership, or if you're talking about someone who's left and is joining, so it's reinstating. If they reinstate themselves and renew their membership up to March 31st, I think it's applicable to everyone who has membership from the October to March timeframe. So if you're in this term, you get that free path.
Okay,
And all you need to do is go into Basecamp and select your free path.
cool. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions? I have shared the presentation as well as the link to what Matthew has. If you guys need, a lot of those resources are available on that Google Drive, and I would definitely say grab that Pathways core competencies out there, simply because it is a great resource to have handy when you are trying to go over what path do I want to. So we have 11 paths, but sometimes it's hard to say you know you don't want to do all 11, but just looking at the name doesn't tell me enough to know, am I cut out for this? One way to do it is to go to the navigator and take the sample test and see, okay, which one is great for me. But just because I am great as a leader does not mean that I want to do the leadership path. If you want to challenge yourself, you want to do something that's different from regular. So I wouldn't recommend that for a new member, because you want to do something that's more comfortable. But as you get more comfortable, you want to challenge yourself, then you want to take a path that's, you know, different or out of your comfort zone. You're going to fumble, but that's a great way to learn, because this is the best environment where you want to learn from making those mistakes. And what I tell a lot of my clubs and members and people that I mentor is, you want to learn not just from your mistakes, you want to learn from the mistakes of other people. And that's the best place when you are in Toastmasters and you're sitting there in the meeting and you see somebody else, you learn from the evaluation or the feedback that they receive. And that's one great way for you to be able to learn and say, oh, I didn't think of it this way. You know, I need to be doing this in my next session or in the next speech that I give. I need to think of it this way, or I need to be using this. So I would say that's a great way to learn from somebody else's mistakes, to learn from your own mistakes. And this is a completely judgment-free zone. So it's a great place where everyone's going to say, be encouraging of what you've said and give you critical feedback, but only with your best interests in mind.
Hey, Pearl, I also want to mention, for those of us who've been to a huddle before or been to the in-person training, we always see that if you go to the membership 101, you would go away with a folder full of information. And that information is on the district19.me on the events page. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, the handouts for all of these sessions for the whole day are on there. I do want to point out there's a couple of them that I know are outdated. The Toastmaster Promise one still talks about the Competent Communicator Award and all those things. So Toastmasters International hasn't updated those forms for us yet. So when they do get updated, we will replace those in our repertoire. But there's still some good handouts, and they're still very, very applicable to your new members. So if you have new members, these are the sorts of things that your club should be helping them to get acclimated into Toastmasters with these pieces of information.
Absolutely, yep. So the link that Carrie has shared there, that's the same. I think it leads out to that Google Drive. I didn't know. I should have checked, and the District 19 website has that out there, the membership handouts. And like Carrie said, some of them are outdated, but they are great resources. That's where I pulled the Pathways Core Competencies link from. And I think that's a great resource that you want to use, or even the competencies for being district leaders, what are the different roles available, and all of that information is in one place that you can use, not just for yourself, but to also share with your club members and explain it to them, because you're going to have a lot of new people who join in and they need to understand it. So I think that's a great resource to share with them, to say, here, this is what you want to do going forward. What I have up on the screen right now is what the next sessions are, in case you are interested in attending them. So you know, the next one is building the leadership bridge on the leadership track, or professionally captivating your audience on the communication channel. And the last one is the Leadership 101, which is going to be right over here. So if you want to stay in that one, you want to stay on the Toastmasters way. Any other questions? This wrapped up a lot faster than I thought, because I was expecting a lot of new people to be coming on this session. And I was like, I'm going to get a lot of questions from the new members. I want to keep my talking points short.
Well, thanks, Pearl. I really appreciate it. As you've kind of done a really nice job of wrapping up, so I don't have much to do myself, but I do want to give you a round of applause from everyone. That was great. And I hope to see you moving up through a lot of the district leadership roles yourself, and everyone on the call. As you said earlier, Pearl, some of the roles may seem a little much of a stretch for you, but that's how you grow. So get involved, step outside your comfort zone, and you'll really be rewarded for it personally. And maybe you'll get one of those great awards like we saw everyone getting in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Our next session doesn't start until 3, so you have 20 minutes or so. Unless there's any more questions here, feel free to hang on and chat.
Sure. So I'll be around for a while. If you have questions, feel free to either IM me or ask out here.